Hello, friends. It's the Cinemondo podcast with Kathy and Mark and me talking about movie trailers. I'm talking about a movie today that I know absolutely nothing about. Mark has brought this in, and
this is all Mark's fault.
That's all my fault.
I actually like it that way. I like it when we do trailer reviews where I see the title is Opus, and that is literally all I know. It's from A24. That's all I know. A24.
That's two things. You know, two things.
Well, Opus tells me nothing. A24 tells me that it's of a certain quality that I've.
You would think, yeah, most
from A24.
Right.
Yeah, they're high quality indie movies.
Yeah,
it's like a stamp.
And it's a first time writer director. So they're taking a chance with this guy. His name is Mark Anthony Green, his feature directorial debut. Great cast: Ayo Edebiri from The Bear, John Malkovich, Juliette Lewis, Murray Bartlett, if you remember from season 1 of The White Lotus, Amber Midthunder, Tony Hale. So a cool cast, and it just looks interesting, and I like her very much, and so she's a star. So I don't know much about it either, but yeah, and John Malkovich makes things. So
yeah, John Malkovich makes anything better.
Yeah, he's always interesting. He'll probably have like a day player. He probably was there for one day, and
I hope not. But we'll see. But anyway, it's called Opus, and
there's a rumor flying around that Moretti's back. Like, Moretti?
After 30 years outside the public eye, pop icon Moretti returns for an exclusive listening experience.
He's bringing you a gift.
This is for Ariel Ecton.
It'll be an absolute honor to spend this weekend with you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Everybody, meet Ariel, some young blood from the magazine. This is Clara, the most hated sex symbol on TV.
Thank you. How's print media treating you?
Congratulations, and welcome to this once-in-a-lifetime gathering.
Moretti requires that everyone be shaven. So, how's the lady garden?
Mr. Moretti will be playing the greatest album of modern times. Future times, all the times, really. And there is more to come. So much more.
What is it that you guys do?
Would you like to see?
The crowd is upset. Upset that I'm not on stage.
Is this not alarming to you?
The back row's for sleep. But the front row's ready to rage.
Are you sure you haven't been drinking with us?
Okay.
Whoa.
What the fuck is this?
Very good question. Okay.
I still know very, very little about this movie, other than I really like the cast, and I think it seems to be about a former rock star who's sort of not been heard from in a long time, who has some kind of a retreat, kind of a weird sort of LA style retreat kind of place. And he's going to do a record release party, and it's supposed to be the greatest record ever recorded or something.
Yeah. That's what I got out of it.
I feel like it's funny you say that. I feel like I've seen this movie like 20 times. I've only seen Blink twice. It's exactly the same movie. I'm sorry. They changed it from a tech bro to a musician, but it's exactly the same. And
yeah,
then
it's a cult.
It's a little bit different, but what was the Ray Fiennes where he was a chef?
The menu.
The menu. It kind of reminds me of that because these people gather at this place and it goes awry and there's like this weird subtext of like creepiness. So I feel like that felt like it. And in fact, there's another movie, but I feel like this is, and I love these kind of movies, so I'm not complaining. There was also the Nicole Kidman TV show that was like 12 people or something like that could show up at this health retreat and she's microdosing them LSD. So they're hallucinating half the time and no one knows what's real. It's like really weird.
Oh.
So it feels a lot like that. Like you go to the thing and there's something else afoot, which is fine, but I do feel like I've seen it already.
It kind of gives me the vibes of that Wu-Tang Clan album, the thing that Martin Shkreli bought, and then there was you remember that thing where it was like zillions of dollars, and there was only one, and the requirement if you buy this album by the Wu-Tang Clan is that you cannot share it, you can't make copies of it. You have to, if you want other people to hear it, they have to be like these designated listening parties. It was basically like one of those products that was created to be expensive,
right?
But it's just a record. It's just an album of music. But if you put this, fake gravitas on it, put a sticker on it that says, $200 million or something, and
people want it.
And then and make this sort of mystique that you can't make copies. No one can ever hear it unless they're your friend and they come to your house and listen,
Well, but if they had like a listening party where then you were dosed and then raped and while you were sleeping, that would be more like Blink.
Yeah, it might be more like this sort of tech bro dude that ended up going to prison and probably is a lot of people's hero now.
Oh God, I know. He'll probably anyway.
I like this kind. I like the cast. I like John Malkovich as this sort of aging guy.
He's gonna be fun.
The guru, and I like her. So I think it's a fish out of water, whatever, contained throw, all that kind of stuff. It's sort of right up my alley, and maybe a little bit of Get Out vibes, just a touch. It has that. It has something like that going on.
And Juliette Lewis.
And Murray Bartlett, who was the guy with the beard. I like him and stuff too. Australian actor. So it just looks like something that could be, even though it's familiar.
Yeah.
It's
always on board.
Stuff, that looks kind of fun and interesting. So.
And it has a little bit of that weird dark humor too. Like it's not, it's creepy, but there's a little tiny bit of a wink, especially because Malkovich's the way he's playing it. But there's just sort of a little weird. This is weird, and it kind of plays on that thing that I love, which like you're always trying to be polite and not offend people, and so you get these people get victimized because they're afraid to do or say anything or be rude, especially with people. You don't want to. So
like let's just go along with it,
until it gets weird.
Yeah, the cult thing, in Midsommar. A little, but
Midsommar, that's a good one. Yeah.
But I've actually known some people, having lived in Los Angeles as long as I have. I've actually known some people who got sort of sucked into these weird, belief systems and cults, and it's like that Nixie or NXIVM cult, with
Nexium.
And those kind of things. Those happen every so often in places that that sort of prey on people and on this idea that you're going to enrich yourself, and that we're revealing great truths and great secrets to you that we've discovered through some kind of meditation or something. Right. And that I've seen, and I've talked to people, and I've had people try to sort of talk me into taking it seriously and all that kind of stuff. And I always feel like movies like this kind of play it into like a comedy realm. They play it up into like, wow, these people are freaky nuts, and the cult leader is like so obviously unhinged and weird and goofy and sitting in a throne, and in some ways I think a really scary movie would be a more realistic depiction of a cult where people, like we see in our present day version of our country. Politics. People believe in things that are so obviously untrue to most of us, but enough people believe it's true. And the reason some people believe in stuff like that is because it gives them something they want. It makes them feel superior. It makes them feel, morally superior. It gives them a group that they can join and friends that they can talk to about this magical thing that they've all discovered. And I think that it's a scary thing. It wasn't, when you think about Jim Jones or whatever, Jim Jones is basically a standard preacher. He was the preacher man, and there wasn't really anything all that unusual about him when you listen to the tapes. But the fact that he went like this far over into another,
I would say this far
into a darkness. Ultimately it wasn't that much different than what you hear preachers talking about, us versus them, and they're going to hell. They're not human. God doesn't love them. God loves us. All that kind of stuff that people preach in cults, and that's something I think maybe this movie maybe missed the point of, or I don't know, maybe it got it, but it just seems like John Malkovich is like so obviously like who is gonna follow that dude.
Well, I think it's the cult of celebrity for this. It's like he's super famous, he's obscure. Like there's this big event, only a very few select people will be invited to this once in a lifetime reveal of his music, that he's got new music. It's like this sort of, I don't think it's religious or anything. I think it's more like, and that's sort of what Blink was also about, is that it's about this big celebrity and the rich elite and how you're always an outsider, but if they invite you in, can you be part of it? Like it's like that desire, that yearning to be part of the select few that are famous and beautiful and rich, and maybe you'll get your chance to meet someone and you'll feel like you belong. I think there's a little bit of that.
You have those all the time. I mean, you see those, there's the sweepstakes. Hey, enter and you might be able to have a weekend with Bryan Cranston or whatever. And you go, oh, that's kind of cool. What if it goes,
we'll become best friends, I'm sure.
In Albuquerque.
Like me.
Yeah, exactly. And then, that's an interesting idea. Take something like that, and then it goes, like, it's not a cult, it's just a weird weekend.
Yeah,
that can get weird too, because you're out of your element.
Yeah, and you get there and you're like unsure how to act. Like, is it normal that you get there and they ask you to shave your entire body? Maybe that's what people do when they're rich. I don't know.
Well, if they have a reason for it, you know what I mean? Like if they tell you, well, it's because of this, it's because.
Well, no, sometimes there isn't a reason. That's just the rule, and you think you're uncool if you don't do it. That's sort of this is just what we do. What?
Yeah.
It's being a joiner.
We get a brand on our body, like a logo brand, and that kind of thing is something that people, I would like to put myself in some ways into a category that's called normal in some ways, abnormal in other ways, but normal people look at things like this and they go, that is nuts. I would never get a brand. I would never let anybody brand their logo on me. Like I'm a thing, like I'm a product. But then
you don't know if there's branding in this, but I get
but I'm talking about another cult,
Different cult.
But then you think about, things that we see in our own town, these huge buildings, these big Scientology buildings, and these other things
big blue buildings where what's going on behind there,
or it's worse than branding, it's like something.
A lot of money. It's money. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a poster for this, Kat?
We have posters. So I think this is really beautiful because it has a very illustrative feel. She's put in a box. I love the blue and the kind of cyan is a really unique kind of color palette that you don't see on movie posters very often because it kind of vibrates, which I think is kind of the point on this. Right. So you have this beautiful portrait, but she looks kind of scared. And so they each have their own, and they have their little emblem. He's kind of scared. Yeah. This looks like a lot of unit too. So that makes sense that these will look really retouched because they're probably from unit photography. And then there's like this one, like just this beautiful, like blue skies, everything's fine, but you're inside this like kind of little bit of a claustrophobic box.
Yeah, and they all look a little harried. They all look a little scared. Something is not quite right with all of them.
So there were a bunch of these for them. I just showed 3, but
I was waiting for one more, and they just push.
Everybody was scared for a second, and I'll do posters for us. So very cool marketing for that. That gorgeous poster is very eye-catching, very different, and it
has kind of a religious vibe to it. It kind of looks biblical in a way, and there's the symbol underneath.
Yeah,
that looks like an ancient sort of sun god symbol.
Yeah. It's probably like his logo or something.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have John Malkovich, and then you have her, and then you have the whole idea of sort of almost 10 Little Indians cult kind of, isolation kind of horror in a way. It's like looks really good, well produced, all for a first-time director in an indie movie.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's that story that we were talking about recently. I can't remember the name of this movie, but it was it's a version of travel horror because the people who are there are not at home. They've presumably gone out into some faraway place to go to this resort
in a private jet
retreat. Yeah. So they're basically kind of trapped. It's isolation, but what was that movie where the family is on vacation and they end up staying with some people?
Evil.
Yeah. And
same thing. Yeah.
And you can't, it's like once you sort of put your hand in someone else's, you entrust them with your present state of well-being or whatever. and you cannot really easily get away. That to me is so much potential for scariness, but I don't know if this is a scary movie. I don't know if it seems more like a dark comedy. Like
scary, but with a hint of comedy, it looks like.
Yeah,
I
mean that's that Blink Twice was like that. Very similar vibe.
Same vibe, and it's going to be released during the Sundance Festival a couple of days, January 27th, but wide release March 14th.
All right,
cool. So Opus coming soon.
All right,
looks interesting. I like movies like this, but I'm kind of a little bit wary of the over the top, almost like a I don't know, like a
Mel Brooks film.
What?
Mel Brooks film.
Or what's the guy from I don't know, the Garth and what's his name, I can't remember his name.
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers kind of movie. Yeah, he made that Love Guru kind of movie.
That was a bomb of all bombs.
Yeah, but there was no horror in that at all.
Yeah, this has an element to that might be a little scary, which is cool. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Always fun. Thanks for
watching. Fuck politeness. Protect yourself. Okay,
bye.